Unexpected second video of the day. Just got to ask a question. It's bugging me. Is anybody else feeling slightly uncomfortable with all of the goings on in the world with regards to the Black Lives Matter thing? Don't get me wrong, I'm totally down with the whole concept of everybody on earth being treated fair, you know? Got no problem with that. But it's just the motivation and the provocation it takes for people to take that step towards thinking, hang on, this can't go on like this. And it seems like a death in a faraway land, although symbolic of great injustice. That death seems to be symptomatic and symbolic of a very sick society in general. Death and murder seem to be what provoke people into action. On a day-to-day basis, people around the world in apparently civilized cultures are tortured by the financial system. They're driven to drugs, alcohol, and a lot of people suicide because of the torture that is handed out to people as a mandatory part of life. It's all very thinly veiled and thinly hidden, but it's there.
Oh, it's a New York apartment. Yeah.
During my childhood, in the 1970s and the early part of the 1980s, I witnessed what passed for entertainment and culture in the United Kingdom. And en masse, we gave tacit consent to absurd levels of bigotry and racism, subjugation, marginalisation of all sorts of people. And we all stood behind it. We all agreed that that was entertainment, that was comedy, that was our culture. And times have changed. A lot of things have changed, but one thing that hasn't changed is human beings. I can speak for the United Kingdom here. Tend to walk behind and stand with the objects of least resistance, the situations and the political mindsets that are going to give them the least hassle in their lives. And I refuse to believe that all of a sudden, because it's 2020, that people are suddenly radically interested and completely 100% behind the concept of equality. Because everything from our voting system to our history says that we're not about equality. Our system from the ground up, the capitalist system, is designed to keep the poor poor and the rich rich, and the rich richer, I should say. Nobody seems to want to sort of take this into consideration at this point in time, that inequality is the bedrock of capitalism and this system. I'm not saying whether I agree with it or whether I don't. I'm just saying it's a standard part of the world as it turns, and the only way to make it a success is to have the haves and the have-nots. I'm of an age and from a time that anybody who was alive at that point in time and was part of the cultural norm would be aware of programmes like Jim Davidson, Love Thy Neighbour, the black and white minstrel show. I can remember what was acceptable and deemed extremely socially normal and things have shifted forward. People like that stuff. It represented average normal people, average normal life, and people haven't changed. The love thy neighbour mentality, which to give you some idea, those of you internationally, it was a white family one side, black family the other side, in a set of terraced houses in the UK. The black people were the butt of the jokes generally, and they were always described using the word beginning with N that we're not allowed to say. I'd happily use it where we're walking together right here, right now, but I'd never dream of using it online. Different rules for different situations, I guess. To be fair, some of the time the joke was on the white people, but you know, things were vastly different, but ironically exactly the same. Anybody who is in touch with average working class people, not all to be fair, but those of the population who suffer the torture of inequality, their opinions haven't changed much since the 1970s, because they don't live in some happy clappy utopia that's being viewed from an ivory tower of middle class wealth and possession. As I said, I'm not saying what my opinion is here. I'm not saying what's wrong and right. I'm just viewing the world as it truly turns. Death bad, torture perfectly okay. Or rather, murder bad. Torture, fine. I just feel that the political and social implications of pushing people into feeling they have to have opinions that they don't actually possess, no matter how hateful and repulsive their opinions may be, is a big mistake. Not everybody on the planet does feel the same way. As I've said, I'm very much on the side of equality for all. And at this point in time, what happened to George Floyd is very much a representative feature of how life is for people of colour in the USA, and it's shocking. It's not a good state of affairs for anybody. But death cannot be seen as the only provocation to stand as one in this world and say, not in my name, this is wrong, we can't go on like this, people can't be treated this way because of something they can't help, the colour of their skin. Couldn't agree more. But we've got to either just shut up or become motivated by the torture that is the bedrock of our society, as well as the murder. A life coming to an end, torture, I'm not sure which anybody would consider the worst of the two camps to be in, but I suppose they're of the same energy when enforced upon a person. Back in December of 2019, the United Kingdom was given a choice. I'm apolitical, so it's irrelevant to me, but they were given the choice to vote for the bedrock of inequality, or somebody who represented a more fair and equitable future for all. Whether it would have been successful or not, who knows? But people en masse voted selfishly. They voted for themselves and not for the greater good. They voted for what is the bedrock of this society, which is pain, inequality and torture. They're all very hidden and subdued aspects of life. But it's like the comparison between somebody who is murdering their child, let's say, and somebody who is feeding their child nothing but saturated fats and smoking around them and drinking, screwing up their mental and physical health. One is a very quick, short, sharp relieving of a child's life. The other is a slow poisoning and murder, arguably, by heart attack, stroke, blood clots and God knows what later in life. We just need to draw less distinctions between behaviour, intent, implications, just everything. Because there are so many things in life, when drawn out over many years, are perfectly acceptable, but if done in the moment and somebody is relieved of their life in an instant, that's when the crime is being committed. That's how the mass of humanity and the state sees it, or the various states around the world. I just want to see more of a marriage between what people in the outrage culture. I mean, you have to admit this. It's a complete and utter irrefutable observation. I think one of the greatest recreational pursuits worldwide since the advent of social media and the internet is outrage. Outrage is possibly the most popular recreation worldwide, and maybe it's time we started getting outraged en masse about everything, seeing the picture as a completed masterpiece on the table as opposed to the 2,000 pieces of the puzzle before it's all put together. It's quite obvious to anybody who has had their eyes open for a number of years in this world how the world turns, and although tragic, wrong, and a situation that needs acting upon, the guilty parties need punishing, what's happened in America and what has spread around the world is symbolic of man's unwillingness to differentiate between murder in the moment and torture and murder that is spread out over many years. Hope this has made sense. Just seen so much of this stuff, didn't want to be quiet anymore, fancied saying something about it. God bless, take it easy.